Hi everyone, welcome back. It's my Swedish Whiskey Girl, and today we are going to try some Kilchoman because it is, of course, as part of the Feis week. I'm releasing my Islay videos, and today we're trying a bit of a 2021 100% Islay preview from Kilchoman, bottled at 56.5% ABV, and this is not the exact release that will come out later in the year, but it's a preview of the style that they're likely to do. So it's about a third sherry casks and the rest is bourbon. I have really enjoyed the 100% Islay in the past, which is why I chose it for today. And when we were on Islay last week, the 100% Islay 10th edition was also part of the tour. We got the 10th edition and we got the Macker Bay as part of that little tour. It was really good. We didn't stay for long, so didn't get a lot of photos, but it's a farm distillery. You basically arrive on this farm that is behind everything else, and then it's just an interesting one. It's one of my favorite distilleries on Ireland, I must say, and they do some really lovely stuff. I have another few of these samples from the Feis tastings that they're doing today. And if you are wanting to watch them, I think you can watch them back on their Facebook page as well if anyone's interested. But I'm really curious to try them because there's some that are from different ages, only matured in bourbon casks, and then there's some more experimental casks. And actually the other day when I picked these up, I got to try a little sample of the Kilchoman mezcal finish, and that was very spicy, which I wasn't expecting, but it was almost difficult to tell what was the spirit and what was the finish. But yeah, like I said, they do a lot of interesting stuff. I like them and I can't wait to try this. I also had a really good tour guide at the distillery. She told us about all the interesting stuff and spoke just long enough about things to feel like you haven't missed anything, but also it wasn't too long and it wasn't too short. And she just knew her stuff and I really appreciated that. But let's have a little look on this whiskey. So fruity on the nose. I think I get pears straight away. It's, of course, being 100% Islay means that everything on the island, everything in this whiskey comes from the island. The peat, the barley is grown on the farm. See, it's interesting, they actually have a malting floor at the distillery, which is probably the first malting floor I've ever seen. And yeah, it's just little things that if you're a little bit nerdy like I am, you just like seeing it. A little bit of a bonfire smoke, almost like an autumn smoke. A little bit like dry leaves and bonfires. Which I think it could be the sherry influence. Almost has like a burnt toast note as well. Well, let's have a little taste, Sláinte. Yeah, it's quite hot, but what did I say? 56.5, so I'm going to add a little bit of water to it because at the moment I'm getting mostly wood and like charcoal with a touch of pear. So I think with a little bit of water it should come out a little bit more. Let's see if I can use this massive teapot of water that we had on the table. Ooh. That might have not been my best idea ever, but at least we got a fair amount of water in there. Oh, it's just sweeter on the nose now. The more pear candies than the fruit. And like burnt orange peel. The water has calmed it down, made it more refreshing. Still get that charcoal note, but it's when the spirit isn't as hot, I feel like you can appreciate it more. still think that charcoaly note is the biggest influence of it. And then underneath you get more of the smoke, and then on the bottom layer it's more of the fruity notes and the sweetness. It's an interesting one because I feel like I like the option of being able to drink whiskey like this, because if I feel like drinking it neat at 56.5%, I can. But also, when we had this at the distillery, and now I can't remember off the top of my head what the percentage is, but I'll put it up on the screen. When someone has blended it and then bottled it at a specific ABV, and like Kilchoman, they don't tend to do 40%, they tend to do 46 or above. It's just, sometimes it's easier to enjoy it because it's been blended to a level where it's ready to be presented to an audience. Because if I compare this one to what I tried at the distillery, I mean, I'm sure everything tastes better at the distillery as well, so I might be a little bit biased. But it's that kind of well blended note that I feel like it's quite rare to achieve at home. Yeah, you can experiment and take time, but usually I don't have that patience for doing that with my whiskey. You can add a few drops and then you can try it, you can do it again, but then I feel like I don't have enough left in my glass and I need to top it up again. Doesn't sound like a big issue, but it's sometimes I just like when you can get a whiskey in your glass and enjoy it straight away because it sits nicely where it is, because professionals have already blended it together and watered it down to a good amount. With that said, I really like this one. I mean, it does have a lot of layers. It has the fruit, it has a little bit of bitterness from the charcoal, it has enough wood, it has enough smoke, and it's just yeah, a lovely whiskey, I think. It's going to be interesting to see exactly what it's like when they release it as well later this year. I think the only thing at the distillery, I wish I would have had more time to have a look around. Also really good that in the bar you could buy tasters of the whiskey, so it's like £2 you could get the distillery exclusive or something, but only, was it 10 or 20 mils? But it's a really good option if you want to try something before you buy it, and you don't see it in a lot of places, so I really like that. The only thing I didn't like was that our tour guide, because of everything that's going on with restrictions and the virus in the world, they can't show you the warehouse. But I didn't know when I booked what was part of the tour, because we booked a standard tour just to kind of see some stills. And I love going to the warehouse, it's my favourite thing. And when we started the tour, our tour guide told us that unfortunately you can't see the warehouse, but we are going to see the bottling hall instead, which is very interesting. But I almost prefer when they just say, they don't mention that you were supposed to see the warehouse. They just tell you that we're going to see the bottling hall, because then you feel like, oh great, that was interesting, wasn't expecting that. But it's just when I know that the warehouse is usually part of the tour, and because of this we didn't get to see it, and they always say, oh, but you can come back and see it. But I don't know when I'm going to be able to come back, because it's not the easiest to travel to Islay. And I mean, I hope I get to visit it soon again. But I know a lot of other people might save up and go to Islay and see it. And then if you come to the distillery, you really want to see the warehouse, and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, you can't see it, but you can come back and see it. Then you just feel like, but I might never come back to the island because I might not have the opportunity. So I almost wish that they wouldn't have told us that. But I mean, that's just being super picky because I love a warehouse. But it was an interesting tour, just seeing everything. And they just expanded as well. I just love nosing this. I think I prefer the nose over the palate today. I think I've burnt my nose as well in the sun, because when I touch it to the glass it almost hurts a little bit. I also have samples of the cask strength Macler Bay, the cask strength Sinag and Loch Gorm, and some cask samples. If you want to see a review of that, please just let me in the comment. Can't speak. please just let me know in the comments below and I'm happy to do it. But it's always good to know what you guys are kind of interested in seeing, because that's what I want to do. And I know I missed La Freugen Bowmore Day, which was the past 2 days, but I will put up, I think, a review of La Freud Quarter Cask and a review of Bowmore 12 as soon as I can. It's just been a bit of a busy week. I was planning on doing this week and do something every day, but then Islay came up, and then when I came back, I didn't realize I'd be working so much, so everything just kind of crashed into each other, and I stood in the middle of it and went, oh, I don't have time for